Good evening, everybody. Time is now 6:33. We have a 6:30 public hearing, July 12, 2023, from the town of Plainfield. I'd like to call this public hearing to order. You do have some information in the back of the room on that table back there. There should be enough for everybody. It is a list of the items that are requested through the 3 questions at 7 p.m. It is the discussion request, a request for the approval for the Board of Education and the Board of Finance for the usage of $49,985 from the fund balance for the facilities feasibility study. Second question up is discuss a request to approve a request from the Board of Selectmen and Board of Finance for usage of $36,000 from the Plainfield Police budget, the purchase of an electronic sign, and the final question to discuss and approve under the Connecticut General Statute 13A 142B, a plan by the State of Connecticut Commission of Transportation to purchase or condemn a portion of the Denver property on Brunswick Ave in order to complete, in part, Moosup Valley State Trail Park. So if you don't mind, we'll go through each of those items again. There are associated paperwork in the back of the room if you ever wanted to take that and understand different information regarding that. The first one up, if you don't mind, we'll talk about. This is the request from the Board of Education to the Board of Finance for the usage of $49,985 from the fund balance for the facilities feasibility study. What we are looking to do is, again, take a small portion of the money from the fund balance to utilize for the feasibility study. I would like to know if the superintendent would like to speak on that item.
Mr. Cunningham, if you're not offended, I'll face the room as opposed to facing the front. So thank you, everyone. I appreciate having this opportunity to speak to you about the facilities feasibility study. In December, questions were raised during the budget season about the utilization of space, how we heat our buildings, the age of our buildings, how we put our capital plan together. 2 years ago, the Board of Education engaged in a facilities study related specifically to HVAC. However, this would be a full feasibility study of all 6 sites. Plainfield High School, Moosup Elementary, Plainfield Memorial, Plainfield Central, Shepherd Hill, and the Early Childhood Center. What this feasibility study looks at is both the cost of running the buildings, the space in the buildings, and the condition of the buildings. The report will come in 5 parts, both talking about key recommendations, capital plans, and use of space. The full feasibility study proposal is on the Plainfield Public Schools website. It's actually on our main website. We've moved it up to the top at your request. If you look at the top item, it says feasibility study, and the full feasibility study is there. In the spring, we put out a request for proposal from our capital improvement committee. That request for proposal is out there as well, going through looking at all the different elements we were looking for in the study, both talking about programs and future of the schools within Plainfield. As part of that RFP, we had several groups come to Plainfield, walk through the schools, 6 individual firms bid. The Capital Improvement Committee met and reviewed all of those bids and made the decision that the lowest bid actually was a group that had done a lot of work in the state of Connecticut. That is Bureau Veritas, B-U-R-E-U Veritas. They are currently doing these exact same facility studies for 3 other districts in Connecticut. They've also done large metropolitan districts such as Boston. We've spoken directly to the consultants. We've done our own vetting of them, and their work is quality. The goal of this study is really to look forward to 2026. As you're aware, Plainfield High School was built in 2006. That bond will be coming off in 2026. So there's an opportune time now to do the study, develop our plan of the best use of how we're going to use every single building. Some of our buildings are old but still sturdy. Moosup Elementary was the first all-electric school in Connecticut. However, it's a sturdy building that we just want to make sure we're using in the best way possible. The high school, though one of our newest schools, is 20 years old. Shepherd Hill is older than that. Most of the modifications to Shepherd Hill is itself a 1990s school. The addition to Moosup is a 1990s. The Early Childhood Center is a 2000 renovation. So all of our programs are looking at about 20 years for their buildings, and this will help us for those pieces. Happy to talk about any individual element of the study. It does look at programming, it does look at enrollment, it does look at every roof, every boiler, the electricity, the most efficient ways to run HVAC. All of those will be part of the study. If you have any questions, happy to answer them, and I thank you for your support of the study in advance.
Just want to make sure that people understand the study is also important in regards to, you might have already said, but to get the understanding of the heating elements and the efficiencies is something you would need in the future if you want to go out for bonding and also helping with that bond because you've already got the study, and also for monies that might be available from the state of Connecticut.
Should we want to apply for any construction grants in the state of Connecticut, a study of this nature will be one of the state's requirements.
All right. So before we move on to the other items, are there any questions for the superintendent on this particular request for the facilities feasibility study? You can always come back to it, but just want to make sure this is an opportune time. Okay, thank you. You'll see the next item for request is to approve a request from the Board of Selectmen and Board of Finance for a usage of $36,000 from the Plainfield Police budget for the purchase of an electronic sign. I don't want to put you on the spot, Chief, but the idea would be, what we're looking to do is utilize monies that were unspent from last year's budget to appropriate and put up an electronic sign. For those people who are going around town, you see the electronic signs are at the school systems, you see the electronic signs that are at all the fire stations. They're very helpful. The one we don't have is something central in the town of Plainfield, and that would be right at the police station. So it's a very helpful opportunity this time to do so. I guess there were some questions that came up, and I fielded a few questions from the residents afterwards. Well, what about the insurance coming from the vehicle that hit the sign that was there before? Those insurance monies, when they come back in, will go right into the general fund. So this is really just taking advantage of the monies we had left over and have access to immediately. That's why we put it on for a vote for tonight. And I don't know if the chief wants to add anything into that.
No, I just think it's important to understand that we're not asking for more money at all. This money is just coming out of one of our line items only because we couldn't hire an officer in time to the academy restraints and stuff like that. So we're not asking for more money. We're just asking really to replace the sign that's there with something more modern. And like the first selectman said, we are going to receive money back from the insurance company as well as a couple $1,000 donation. So in essence, even though it says roughly $36,000, likely half of that's going to come back, and it's just going to go back to the general fund. Obviously, we can't get that all to the taxpayers, but at least we know that in reality, the sign is only costing half that because we're half that. We're not asking for more money at all. We're just asking to use the money that we have there to go ahead and do this. And you got to remember that we can use it for also public safety alerts, missing persons, anything that that can help the public locate somebody, anything of that nature. So also post signs regarding meetings and stuff. So it's going to be very beneficial for the whole community. Anybody have any questions at all?
Just to add to that, if you don't mind, the idea that you have access to the Nixle alert on your phone is great. But for those people who don't have that access, you can find the information on that sign. An example would be what's going on tomorrow night. You have bike night, which is coming up, and the road closure over here will be done at a certain time. And so that sign would be able to help out information by putting it up on to the public as well. Again, one more thing I want to make sure you have is information. So in the back was a listing also for the police project sign, and that's the bidder for that sign. For the feasibility study, a complete packet was back there, and it talked about all of the different companies that put the bid in for it, and more detail as well is in that package back there. Any other questions on the item number 2 for the questions for the sign? All right. On to item number 3, which is to approve under the Connecticut General Statute, Section 13A-142B, a plan by the State of Connecticut Commission of Transportation to purchase or condemn a portion of the Damper property on Brunswick Ave in order to complete in part Moosup Valley State Trail Park. So that is finally coming to fruition. For those who can remember, that trail has been in the state's hands for probably 8-9 years now, and they had a couple of meetings here at the town hall on it. We've been trying to wait for their completed project and their planning. It's finally come to fruition, but there is a piece of property that the state of Connecticut has asked by way of proper state statutes, and there it says 13A 142B. It has to, in part, allow the town to vote on allowing the state to take that property. And that by take the property, there's an easement and need so they can continue on with the trail. And that's why this is in front of you. There's also information on that in the back of the room, as far as maps as well. I would point out that the last map that's listed in your packet that would be back there talks about the entire property, and there's the easement where the trail actually goes through, and that is it. So, any questions on that particular item?
Yes. Are they in arrears at all on this property?
Not that I know of.
Also, are they asking for that whole, like, 3-point-something acres?
It's just the easement going through. That's all they're looking
Just
for.
an easement?
Yep. That's why that's marked out like that.
Okay, because it looks like they said the whole property.
Well, they have to work with the family in order to do the proper steps, whether it's be by full purchase or by taking it by eminent domain. That's how they would do it.
That
But
was so well for the state of Connecticut. Sorry, I just remember New London.
Yep. However, this particular project is not like New London's. New London was Kilo, I believe that was the name of the group. And what they did there was they took properties, homeowners' properties with homes on it, and they said they were going to turn around for development, for commercial development. So this is not in that vein of process whatsoever.
But I know it's just that the state of Connecticut doesn't always carry out its thoughts.
Any other questions on the items in front of you?
We ripped out a part of the shower, you know, and the tile floor, down 3 foot, up, down.
Good evening, everybody. The time is now 7 p.m. I'd like to call this Town of Plainfield Special Town Meeting to order for July 12th, 2023, 7 p.m. And I'll turn it over now to the town clerk to read the legal notice.
The electors and citizens qualified to vote at town meetings in the town of Plainfield are hereby warned to meet on Wednesday, July 12, 2023, at 7 p.m. at the Plainfield Town Hall at 8 Community Avenue for the following purpose. Item 1, to approve a request from the Board of Education and the Board of Finance for the usage of $49,985 from the fund balance for the facilities feasibility study. Item 2, to approve a request from the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Finance for the usage of $36,000 from the Plainfield Police budget for the purchase of an electronic sign. Item 3, to approve under Connecticut General Statute, Section 13A-142B, a plan by the State of Connecticut Commissioner of Transportation to purchase or condemn a portion of the Damper property on Brunswick Avenue in order to complete, in part, the Moosup Valley State Park Trail, dated at Plainfield, Connecticut, this 29th day of June, 2023. Kevin M. Cunningham, First Selectman. Arthur W. Gagne, Selectman. Art Gardner, Selectman.
Thank you. At this time, we would take motions for moderator.
Nominate Kevin Cunningham for moderator.
I'll second that.
Any other motions for moderator? Hearing none, entertain a motion to close nominations.
I move we close nominations.
And who was the second? Thank you. All in favor of closing nominations, say aye.
Aye.
All in favor of Kevin Cunningham being moderator, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. We will now go through the process of trying to vote on all three of these. Anybody who is here who has a ballot in hand, this would be the time now where we'd ask that you would single file.
I move to put the three previous questions for the meeting notice to vote by ballot.
A motion to vote by ballot.
Who's second?
Point of information, could the clerk please inform anyone that if they have a mistake on their ballot, to go and get another ballot, not scribble it out and put your initials on it, please?
Fair point. We've had an issue in the past, so if you do make a mistake and you've noticed it before you put it into the box, you can go back and exchange. Okay, we have a motion to go to paper ballot. We have a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you very much. Now this time we'd ask again, single file come up. We have pens up in the front. You can come on up, mark your ballot, and place it into the box. Okay. Any way you want. Well, as soon as everybody's done, we'll do a count. Yep. Hello, your son, your brother. Very nice. Good to see you. Just want to make sure that if anybody has a ballot that has not voted yet, please come up and do so. Again, last call for those who have not placed their ballot in the box. And there's no one else coming in, so at this time we will close the ballot box. All right, thank you for the wait. We now have the results for all three questions. Question 1 was to approve a request from the Board of Education and the Board of Finance for the usage of $49,985 from the fund balance for the facilities feasibility study. Yes, 33. No, 8. Item 2, to approve a request from the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Finance for the usage of $36,000 from the Plainfield Police budget for the purchase of an electronic sign. Yes, 32. No, 9. Item 3, to approve under Connecticut General Statute, Section 13A, 142B, a plan by the State of Connecticut Commission of Transportation to purchase or condemn a portion of the Danbury property on the Brunswick Ave in order to complete, in part, the Moose Valley State Park Trail. Yes, 33. No, 8. That concludes the voting for tonight. I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
Who is our second? Thank you. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Just a reminder, as you're walking out, obviously there's music outside. There's another meeting up on the 26th, and that's about ordinances, so we'll have another meeting on the 26th.